Chapter 9. All Warfare is Deception. "Lisa," said Elena as she walked into their room. "Huh? Oh, hey, Elena," said Lisa as she awoke from her afternoon nap. "Got all the beauty rest you needed?" joked Elena as she went to her desk to get working on something. "I have a job for you." "Ugh, can't Elise do it?" groaned Lisa. "No, you're going to do it. You look like one of those Frenchy-style girls. Enough, at least. I need you to go into enemy territory and plant this evidence, shall we say," said Elena, quickly drawing up something on her table. "Evidence?" asked Lisa. "Yeah. The Frenchies want us to do some recon for them, find out what the other girls know about the lower tunnel system, blah blah. They want proof that they know or don't know. So we're going to make sure that they know a lot about those tunnels. Then the escalators will have to act quickly," said Elena as she held up the papers that she was working on to the light, before placing them on the table again and quickly finishing. "So, how do we do that?" asked Lisa. "You're going in undercover," replied Elena as she passed her finished drawing to Lisa. Andou sat in her room and stared out the window while thinking about what she and Fontaine had talked about earlier. A knock at the door caused her to sit up and exit her dazed. "Come in," said Andou. "Andou, something urgent," said the girl at the door. "Speak your piece," said Andou. "This girl told me to tell you something. She said that she had some big news for you, and only you. She said to wait for her at the payphone on 27th at 8, the one by the cab depot. I don't know why, but she seemed real nervous, like she was being followed or something," said the girl in a hurry. Andou looked at the clock next to her and saw the time. It was 6:30. "Did she tell you who she was?" asked Andou. The girl shook her head and stated, "She said she couldn't. I didn't even see her. I was walking down the street and somebody ran out and grabbed me. I tried to yell, but she covered my mouth and told me in a real shaky voice all that I relayed to you. I could tell that she was looking around, and she said something about hoping that there were no Escalator spies around." Andou felt suspicious but decided to check it out anyway. "All right. Thank you. I'll check it out." "Should I put together a team?" asked the girl. "No, I'll do this alone. I should be fine. There's usually a fair number of people near the depot," she replied as she got up from her seat. The walk was quiet, and Andou considered just what the girl might have needed to tell her. Could it be some Escalator defector? What about these spies? Were any of her friends spies? And if they were spies, what were they spying for? Were they hoping to learn of any plans from her, or just the examination class in general? Andou shook her head and tried to blank it before remembering what Fontaine had said to her earlier. Doubt, think, exist. She was doubtful. She was thinking. So certainly she existed. But of course she existed. She knew she existed. Andou didn't really get the meaning of the phrase. She reached the depot and checked her wristwatch. It was 7:40. She leaned against the wall and waited. The streets were emptier than usual, but they still had plenty of traffic. Cabs pulling in and out of the depot. People going to the deli next door. Andou checked her watch again. 7:59. She looked around but saw no one who looked to be approaching her. The phone rang and Andou looked to it. Did this mystery woman mean that she was going to call the payphone? Suddenly Andou felt foolish for expecting a person to walk up to her, maybe even relieved such was not the case. She picked up as she stepped into the booth. "Sorry for making you wait so long," said the voice on the phone before Andou could even say hello. "I needed to be sure that nobody was watching you." "Next time, wait somewhere less conspicuous, maybe," said the voice. "Sometimes hiding in the open is the best place to hide," said Andou, looking to her. "I feel the same. Maybe I'm the one driving the cab, or one of the people on the phone at the deli across the street. Or maybe I'm watching you through the scope of a rifle. The point is, you don't need to know. What you do need to know is this. The escalators are planning on taking the tunnels below deck of the examination side of the ship. They want to cut off your utilities and flush you out this way. In that phone book case are the layouts to the tunnel system. Do with them as you will. Now imagine that you heard your favorite show was going on for a second season, or your dog just won a football match. Be happy, but don't show any of those papers as you leave. What? Asked Andou. There might be spies watching. Just pretend that you talked to somebody else. I'll be in touch if I need you, said the voice as the line went dead. Andou opened the phone book case and saw traced pictures of what seemed to be blueprints. Huh. I guess she wasn't kidding, said Andou as she took them and put them in her skirt. What a nut job. Dog playing football? Said Andou as she left the phone booth, checking side to side before heading back into her room. How'd it go? Asked Elena as Lisa walked back into their room. Just fine. Those girls were honestly oblivious to all this about the tunnels. And no wonder. One of the ones that I had to go through connecting the sides was a damn sewage path, said Lisa. Explains the stench. Elena choked, turning her nose up to Lisa. Anyway, that Andou girl got the blueprints. So now, we'll wait to see how this turns out, finished Lisa. Good, said Elena. Marie and Oshida sat down in their clubroom and looked over all that they had gathered up to this point. So the Kuromorimine girls say that the examination students might know of the tunnels connecting us. She also warned that they might be spying, claimed to have seen stolen documents. If that's the case, then we must act quickly. It would seem that one of the paths connecting the two sides is a sewer path, so that's probably why few people would go that way, said Oshida. I see. Were all the utilities that we need access to along the route as planned? Asked Marie. The girl says yes, but they're all heavily occupied spaces by workers. That said, she told me that none really paid much mind to her, though they were very involved in their work, replied Oshida. Perhaps if we send an armed force down there. I don't know, Oshida. It doesn't feel right like this, to work against our own schoolmates, said Marie, turning away from the planning sheet. I know, Miss Marie, but it's necessary. If we leave them, then they shall destroy our school. I say we use tear gas to flush them out of the lower levels and back up onto the deck. The issue is that if we do that, they might linger in the streets. We could hammer them with artillery fire to make them stay indoors, then flush them from the tunnels and into the streets. That way we're sure they'll stay in the upside buildings, indoors, isolated, with no power, water, or gas. That will surely crush their spirit, said Oshida. Marie frowned, to which Oshida placed a hand on her leader's shoulder. All warfare is deception. We don't really have to hurt them, just make them think that we will. And part of that, maybe, is convincing ourselves that we are hurting them.